One of the games I was looking forward to playing was Marvel Avengers, but unfortunately with the months that's gone by, it's been a very shocking game, and Square Enix reported a $48 million loss. 98% of their player base is now gone, which is very sad to see. Yeah.
98% gone?
Yeah, 98% gone on all platforms and PC.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's very sad to see, to be honest. And it's an Avengers, licensed game. You'd think it would be quite easy to make a good game. You know what I mean?
It takes a really special of shithousery to get given the Marvel IP and not to make money out of it. I don't know how you can get given. Is it the biggest IP in entertainment? I think it probably is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
And this moment in time, you throw Marvel on there. You see what Fortnite's been doing. You throw Marvel on there, you're guaranteed to get players turn up.
Yeah, exactly.
And what has Square Enix done to this game? Like he says, we were so excited for it. All the way back in January 2017, they announced this game. 3.5 years ago, nearly 4 years ago, they announced this game, and now no one's playing it.
Yeah, I think after just playing it a little bit, it's the same with a lot of live action games where it's a focus on end game content and focusing on the story, and not like putting all forces on both. And it just makes the gameplay so repetitive. Yeah. And when the story's already lackluster, there's no reason to go on with the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think when it launched, when the game launched, it put itself in a group of games that I don't think you want to be in. And I would put when it first launched, it's in the same group of games like The Division, Rainbow Six Siege when it first launched, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Anthem, and even Destiny 2 as well. You put yourself in those games because it wasn't finished. It was. I don't understand. It was not complete. Like, it didn't have a lot of bugs or anything necessarily. It had a few bugs actually. It didn't have anything game breaking.
No, it only had like frame rate problems.
Yeah, it had a few problems here and there, which these days seems to be pretty standard for a AAA release, honestly. but when you play it and you said the multiplayer, there was just nothing to do.
Yeah, it was because like, for these live action games, you need a large variety of enemies, and this game just had a small range. Like, you're basically fighting the same 3 types of enemies, which is the shield one, which has always so felt like the most dramatic enemy to fight, which I don't understand. Yeah. This is a stupid shield guy. Like the basic like brawler punching your face guy and the ranged person. Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, it just wasn't interesting.
No.
And aim, you can only... the thing is with aim as an enemy, I think you can only take them so far before you're like...
Yeah, exactly.
What next?
Yeah, I know.
I'm playing as the Hulk or something,
Yeah.
There's only so much you can present to me as a challenge when you're just using aim as your enemy, really.
Yeah.
And I think that was an issue. And the maps as well, once you get into that end game, all you're left is grinding out the game on these 3 playable maps. You've got 3 different areas and whatnot, but it's just playing the maps over and over again with like little to no rewards.
No, yeah.
And it's boring.
You know what the worst thing is as well? Like, on these games, like, the best thing to do is get loot. But if the loot doesn't change in game, like, half of your perception of getting it is gone. Like, that's such a missed opportunity. When you're playing Iron Man, there's so many armors that we just haven't seen, and it would be such a good idea to emphasize that in the game and what the special uses of. But instead they decided to do all of the cool Iron Man armors in cosmetics, which are like $14 and exclusively to like 5GUM and Virgin Media, which are just it's so stupid. Why don't you just make it that like people can choose their own mark cosmetics, and for that it changes how your Iron Man plays. Instead of just making armor that's exactly the same, you're just boosting your power ability, which is just so boring.
No, you're 100% right. I think it's pretty obvious that there was a lot of external forces involved in developing this game, and it went into so many different directions, and that's why there's a game that no one likes.
There's not really a player base for it.
One of the good things about this game is the story. It's a decent story. But the problem with that was, even when it was first revealed, you remember when it first came out, everyone was just shitting on it because the character models just looked so off. I think I don't think you'll find a lot of people that liked the character models. It just looked like, well, we've got the Marvel rights, but we haven't got the actors and actresses right, so we just have to do a knockoff of them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The reception was so bad.
It was just like, in the terms of, trying to get the audience based on the MCU fans and comics, there was no identity. It was just in the middle. And it was just blank, basically.
Yeah, and that's what the difference with the Spider-Man game that came out around last year or 2 years ago now. When that came out, you still knew the character, but they gave it its own identity with the player model and whatnot. Like, it wasn't obviously, they've changed that now, annoyingly.
Yeah.
But at the time, it didn't affect it when it came out. And I think that was one of the main issues, is that you're presenting the people of the solo game, you're giving them this game, and you're just like, I don't like the look of them, and that's never a good sign.
No, yeah, definitely.
If you release a trailer and players do not like the visuals, that is a cause for concern. They didn't change them.
Yeah.
They did not update them. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? You've got the feedback. They did it for Sonic.
Yeah, they did it for Sonic, yeah.
If people don't like how you're presenting it, change it up.
I don't.
There's so much time.
It's hard to. In their defense, I understand why, because it's hard to do, and I think their performances, the performance of those characters was obviously upheld by the voice acting. Like Troy Baker, Nolan North, and Laura Bailey. They're all like very good voice actors, and that's probably what made the story that much appealing. But at the same time, like it was. This game was like in between having a good co-op story experience with very lackluster live action options, which is why like if it was a story game based on AIM, then it would be fine. But there's as soon as you try to expand it as a live action, just fighting AIM robots, free robots, it's just so boring.
Yeah. No, I think that, you're right. And that's the thing, like, they don't give you the open world aspect or that freedom that Spider-Man had. And I know we keep comparing this game to Spider-Man, but it's the same genre now. Spider-Man has put the standard up for superhero games, to be honest. Unless you do something completely different, whatever Marvel the Avengers tried to do, it did not compete against Spider-Man, because I think people just wanted to play as the Avengers. The people that wanted this game, they didn't want it to be a looter game. They didn't want that for Marvel Avengers. You don't look at Marvel Avengers and think, yes, let me grind and loot for so many hours. They just want to play as Iron Man or Thor or Hulk or something and just have fun in a nice open world game with some cool missions and story. And the story was good in this game. It's a bit short.
Yeah, it's a bit short, and it focused on Kamala Khan too much, I think.
Yeah, I think that, you can't be saying, here's Marvel Avengers, and then, well, you're going to be Kamala Khan for most of it. I think that was, again, that was another turn off for more casual people that don't really care too much about Marvel, but like the film series and all that. You're giving them, you've got this whole IP, you're presenting it as very similar to the cinematic universe, but then you're shoehorning a character that not a lot of people are familiar with or never knew existed.
Yeah.
And it's different. Again, going back to Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man should come out of Miles Morales. That worked because they introduced people that didn't really know about him in the first one, you know?
Yeah,
like,
true.
I reckon if they did the Spider-Man game and went straight with Miles Morales, it probably wouldn't have done as well. But you gave him a bit of a platform to people that don't, because obviously people that don't read the comics won't really know Miles Morales.
Yeah, true. Oh, and the film as well, though.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I forgot about that fantastic film. But yeah, it's still like for gamers and whatnot, they probably won't know him as well. But then they've done that well of how they presented him, and now they've got his own game. It's doing fantastic. Yeah. Kamala Khan, no one knew Kamala Khan. She's a good character. So I'm not even saying she's a bad character. No, it's a lot of. I think if you put any character in her position as, you're going to be the main thing for the Avengers game, it's going to be very hard to make that character stand out on its own.
No, you're right, yeah. Except for comic lovers, like there's no attraction to her. Like I really liked her, but I've read her comics. But I think like one of the problems with this as well is that I feel like the lineup of the Avengers was so off if they wanted to do a live service game. Like I was saying to you, for the Hulk, you can't customize the Hulk any other way than just smashing stuff. Like, you're not going to make, like, a ranged Hulk character, are you? Because logically, it's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It's so...
Oh, yeah, no.
So some of the designs are just going to be...
Give him some headgear or something. Yeah. Give Hulk some headgear or make him do a weird dance.
It's just so strange. So, like, I feel like what you said was true, that they tried to tailor it based on the MCU rather than thinking about how long can this franchise last. And also, like, they're making Spider-Man exclusive just to Sony. Did you hear that as well?
Yeah.
That's such a big loss for them. Like, it's like, why would you do that? Like, you're trying to divide your player base, which is already basically gone. And you decided, I'm going to make one of the best Marvel characters an only Sony thing. Like,
I think is that not down to Sony though? That must be more down to Sony.
Yeah, it probably is. Agreement. But like, in that case, just don't add Spider-Man. Like, I feel like just making exclusive characters is affecting your game more negatively than just having him at all. It's just stupid.
And the thing is, like, the games I mentioned earlier, more so Rainbow Six and Star Wars Battlefront 2. They came out and they were really shat on by the communities. They were not well received. But they eventually got better. This one, I want to say there's potential there, but at the same time, I just don't know why anyone deserves... I don't know why Square Enix deserves someone to go back to it, to be honest. It's like, it's one of those things where I think they've really missed the target with this one. Badly.
I don't want to write it off completely.
It has potential.
Yeah, it does.
I would say it has potential, but at the same time, I don't think gamers should be in a position sometimes where I'm going to give you another chance, even though you've already taken my money. I think when someone charges you £60 to play their game, if you have the audacity to charge someone £60 and then you give them a half-baked product, you don't have to work your ass off to get that person to give you a second chance.
Yeah, you're right.
If they took less than that, if they were going down the looter fee and they took a lot less, then maybe there's room for error. But I always think when you're charging someone £60, you need to have a product to show for it.
No.
Don't give them a half-assed product.
100%, yeah. And this is the problem with the modern live service games. But I feel like the way they'll do forgiveness is that this game will probably...
The way they'll do forgiveness. How should they do forgiveness?
The way they'll do forgiveness is that this game will eventually be free to play. This is what I'm going with. It's going to be free to play, and then they're going to slowly release all their content, and it's going to be free. If they charge anyone for the next content they're going to include, then they're just going to lose people because they'll just be like, why?
Whatever they have left, whatever people they have left.
Yeah, just like, why? Like, you already gave us a shit game. Why am I paying more? Like, everything has to be free. And then if they continue to have a rising player base, then I feel like they can release paid DLC. But other than that, like, this is the same way Destiny 2 did it as well, because Destiny's 2 base game was shocking. It was very bad, and then Bungie realised they had to release the game for free, and then now the content is actually getting better and better. Yeah,
I think that's exactly what Marvel Avengers needs to do. Square Enix definitely needs to do it. Like you said, they've announced the £36 million loss. They need to get something to get this player base growing again. I think making it free or heavily discounting it will be the best way to go forward. I just can't believe they've messed up an Avengers game. How do you mess up an Avengers game?
It's very hard to do. Yeah.
You've got the blueprints with Batman and Spider-Man in the last decade now. Bad superhero games should not be a thing anymore, especially not with the Avengers.
Even with a live action game, the Marvel universe is huge. Like, you can prick enemies from so many different comics and just pop them in there, and it will just be sick to do, and it'll be very unique. And for some reason, they just didn't exploit that.
But we just got Taskmaster and Abomination over and over again.
Oh, that's what as well. The bosses, the amount of sick bosses they could have added, but they added 3 villains, and the others were just massive robots that no one cared about.
Honestly, Square Enix, we've given you the advice here. I think it's perfect advice. Still, we should just go and work for them. Make it free. Give us free shit, and people will hopefully start playing your game and spend more money on it.
Yeah, true.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.